Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond, with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and Dog TV.
All right, welcome to another episode of the PAL podcast. I am Chris Bonifati, joined as always by the intelligent and inspirational Kristen Levine. Kristen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Chris. You look great in that Argyle sweater.
I know. If anybody's watching on video, I'm entering my Mr. Rogers era. I guarantee you, my wife, I hope, she doesn't even need to see the video to know what sweater we're talking about, because I've been wearing it around the house as like a cozy way too much. And today I have a little bit of a cold, so pardon the voice, but I decided I'm just going to wear the coziest thing I have into the studio today. So that's all part of radical self-care right there. Dress well, test well.
Tulip's wearing her sweater this morning too, because it's 10 degrees outside here. And
what? It's warmer up here.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I don't get it. That's insane. Well, keep Tulip nice and warm and cozy as we coast through another amazing episode. We are going to be interviewing two great guests, talking about two interesting stories, recommending two awesome products, and at the end of it all, we're going to answer two of your burning questions. That's right, your questions from the audience. So, Kristen, anything else before we get started?
No, just a reminder that we drop new shows every Tuesday, so it's literally a 2 for 2 for 2 for 2 for Tuesday. And please share the podcast with your friends, with your pet-loving friends, of course. And if you haven't checked us out on video yet, you can find us on YouTube.
Find us on YouTube. There's a Dog TV Fast channel that's going to be coming out. All sorts of ways to get this amazing podcast. And you know what? I'm going to say, Kristen, share this with your pet-hating friends, too. Turn them into lovers. Turn them into lovers. If they hate animals, yeah, let them listen to us, and we're going to change that tune right around. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Storytime.
Kristen and Chris present Storytime.
All right, Chris, I've got a story for you. Well, it's kind of a story. It's more of like a news flash. Let me ask you this question first, though. How often do you get great customer service?
Well, it depends. I feel like nowadays, not very often.
Right.
It's not very often.
The day and age when it's the exception, not the norm, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I feel like when I go to a restaurant, I'm taken care of nowadays. But any retail environment, online or brick and mortar, it's been trying.
Yeah. Well, I've got some really good news for you, because I stumbled across this story that revealed that some of our favorite pet retailers, both brick and mortar and online, just won some top honors for great customer service. So this was it's called the America's Best Customer Service List of 2025. So you might want to check that out, for not just for pet, but for, the other businesses that you patronize. They surveyed about 28,000 customers, and they wanted to know where these customers received consistently exceptional customer service. This was done by Newsweek and a research firm called Statista. So would you like to take a guess at some of the brick and mortar pet retailers that got top honors?
Yeah, I could take a stab. I'm going to go with, out of the Seattle-Tacoma area, Mud Bay.
Nope, they weren't on there.
Mud Bay, step up! How about in Global Pet Expo's backyard, over 200 retail locations, flagship store in Orlando, Florida, Wolfgang Bakery?
Oh, no. Let me just...
I'm messing it all up. Give me a few.
You are totally screwing up. Okay. Number 1 was Pet Supplies Plus, followed by Tractor Supply.
Really?
Followed by Bentley's Pet Stuff, which originated out of Chicago, I believe.
Yeah, Bentley's would have been a guess. Maybe 5 or 6 down the line.
Yeah, PetSmart. And then number 5 was Pet Supermarket. So, yeah. I mean... I won't make any comments there, but I have had really great customer service at some of those. All right. And then for online retailers, Chewy took number 1.
Yeah. Chewy's amazing.
They're incredible. Pet Care RX, 1-800-PET-MEDS, PetSmart Online, and 1-800-PET Supplies Plus. So if you guys are looking for a new place to spend your pet dollars and you want some excellent customer service, check some of those places out.
Well, that's great. There we go. Good customer service in the pet industry. I've got a story here too. A little different tact here. But I think it's important to talk about. Did you know, Kristen, that cats can get sick with the avian flu?
Really? No, I did not know that.
And there's a few precautions that you could take. If you have a little bird hunter during flu season, might be best to keep them inside because that's the number one way they're going to get it. B, if you feed your cat any sort of a raw diet that is poultry-based, I would avoid it right now just because bird flu is running through its paces. And finally, if you treat any meat out of the refrigerator, whether it's deli turkey or, little cut up pieces of chicken breast, make sure that it's cooked. Yeah, do all those things because the cat's not going to get bird flu from a person. It's got to get it directly from a bird. So if you're sick with avian flu, don't feel like you have to isolate from your cat. That would be miserable. That'd be the worst thing that could ever happen to you. They have to get it directly from the bird, similar to the way people get it. So just take those few precautions. Last thing you want is for your cat to get sick. There is a report out of Oregon that a domesticated cat did pass away from the avian flu, which is really, really sad. And now that is atypical. They usually don't pass, but the flu could be nasty. And not all immune systems. And if you have
an older cat or a cat with a compromised immune system, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up because that's
precisely. So stay safe out there and keep your kitties away from those gross birds.
They're not gross.
Sometimes they are. They're not always gross. No, if you keep a bird in your house, that's not gross.
That's messy.
But the pigeons and seagulls that I see in the Costco parking lot, those birds are gross. And I'm not afraid to say that on this pet podcast.
Right. And they're rude too.
They are rude, yeah. I saw this little clip on TikTok where somebody went to a beach restaurant and they were complaining to the waiter that seagulls were bothering them. And the waiter just handed them a spray bottle and said, defend yourself.
Oh, that's funny.
Spraying around.
When I lived in Florida, I had first just moved there and I went to Clearwater Beach one day by myself and I went to the little snack bar and I bought a sandwich or something. And I'm sitting there on the beach holding my sandwich in my hands and these seagulls they swoop down and steal your sandwich. And I was new to the area. So, everybody around me is laughing you learn the hard way.
Beyond the Leash, exploring the untold stories of pet passion and professionalism.
All right. Our first guest today is John. Oh, you know what? I forgot to ask how to pronounce the name, John. Is it John Reider or Reider?
It's Reider, yep.
John Reider. You are affectionately known as the Bubble Man, and you're in St. Louis, and you're the creative force behind Atomic Bubbles. This is a brand that's revolutionizing the joy of play for both pets and people. Now, John's unique bubble brewery, how cool is that to have a bubble brewery? Give me a break. They craft pet-safe, allergen-free bubbles that entertain pets while promoting activity and well-being. Now, John's bubble creations are more than just fun. They're actually a tool for healthier, happier pets and owners. We're going to talk to him about that. And from the rise of his bubble buzz, the bubble brewery wasn't cool enough. There's a bubble buzz too. The global success of these pet-safe bubbles and John's journey is nothing short of bubblicious. So with over a decade of innovation, John's shown how something as simple as bubbles can be therapeutic and transformative. Thank you so much for joining us today, John.
Wow, that's a wonderful intro. Can I use that?
It's yours.
It's all you. It's all about you. And first question, of course, is what the heck inspired you to create Atomic Bubbles and for pets?
Yeah, you know what? It's a journey that's been 2 decades in the making. truly. I'm an entrepreneur by spirit. I think something like that is just innate in someone, and I could no longer fight it, so I gave into it. Many years ago, I found a product that was called Techno Bubbles, and a gentleman had invented a bubble that glowed under black light. Okay, and I thought that was fascinating. I thought, wow, this dude has got these crazy bubbles, and I love light. I love neon signs and stuff, so anything with color captivated me. I ordered some, and by golly, they worked as advertised. Long story short, my wife and I bought the formulas, patents, and trademarks to that bubble product and started marketing it. And that is how this whole crazy bubble journey started some 20 plus years ago.
I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love it. But I got to ask, because in that intro, I heard the term bubble bus. And you got to tell me about the bubble bus. What's that all about?
So again, another wonderful happening that I don't know if Beth and I, my lovely wife, who's helped me in business throughout my career, ever thought of, but we started doing bubble events just to advertise these crazy glow bubbles. Okay, so nobody knew that bubbles could glow under black light. So we had to go out and kind of like advertise. We had to do events and parties and do, we'd find ourselves driving to local parks at night and setting up black lights in the bed of my pickup truck and blowing bubbles and just trying to get the word out. And so what we found from that was people weren't as much interested in the glow bubbles as they were in us doing bubble performances. And so the phone started ringing like, hey, we saw you blowing bubbles in the park the other night. Would you come and do my kid's birthday party? Will you do our high school mixer? Will you do our college prom? We had concert groups call us and doing venues. And so it was one of those things that just kind of happened. And hence Bubble Bus was invented, and we franchised that business, and we have 12 buses running in 4 different states right now.
Wow. So when did you make the shift to bubbles for pets, and what went into making sure those bubbles were safe for pets?
Right. Great question. So during pandemic, we were in the event business, and with Bubble Bus, that was our main livelihood. And when all gatherings stopped, we found ourselves in a spot of going bankrupt, right? A local manufacturer hired us to bottle his hand sanitizer because we had the bottling equipment to do so. So we learned how to bottle things quickly and efficiently and safely. Coming out of pandemic, we were at a dinner party, and a friend of mine who's a big dog person said jokingly, John, if you could come up with a bubble for dogs and cats, I think you'd sell a lot of them. And that's when the light bulb moment went off in my head, and it's like the next day I'm on the internet Googling who makes them, who sells them, how safe are they, and found out that they were being made. They were very low quality, and people were leery of their safety because most of them were being made overseas. Okay, so that's how, again, someone kind of gave me the idea, and we ran with it, and that's how we got into the pet bubble industry.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's just such a clever idea. And sometimes the best ideas came out of that dreadful pandemic, right? But I want to talk a little bit about, some of the more therapeutic findings you've had now that you've kind of experienced this whole thing and having folks sort of play with their animals. So you mentioned that bubbles can contribute to the well-being of physical and mental health for pets. So can you talk a little bit about that and how this form of play can be beneficial towards their health?
Right. Well, being a bubble man that I am, whether I'm doing bubbles for humans or for pets, the main reason for doing that when we first started was for enjoyment and pleasure, right? It's just making a gathering fun and making people smile, laugh, and have a memory. What we quickly found out with with the pet bubbles is that people were really they were contacting us saying, wow, this has really become a great way for me to interact with my dog. Like maybe the the dog or cat had become bored with like the typical toys, or the person maybe elderly is not in the same capacity where they can go play fetch with their dog. So we found that people were reaching out to us saying, hey, this is a great way for us to interact with our dogs. It's a great way for my dogs to get exercise. And in the elderly group, we've really started trying to advertise that this is a great way for next generation folks to continue to have interaction with their dogs, whether they're health bound or if they're in a walker, cane, wheelchair, something like that. You can still play fetch with your animal, but this way it's just through blowing bubbles. It's it's not tough for that person to do.
Yeah, and to that point, it's also great for older pets that have lost mobility, and perhaps pets that are obese or overweight who need that exercise, but maybe they're not as active as they could be if they'd lost some weight. So I love like this whole spectrum of usefulness for these fun bubbles.
Right. Gina Dial, a gal that works with us, she's an amazing.
I know Gina. Yeah, she's
Gina.
great.
Yeah, she's been in the industry forever. We were fortunate enough to have her join our team last year, and she's just a wealth of knowledge, and she's always feeding me all this great information. But she had sent me something about the growing problem of pet obesity, and just to give you some stats, like 59% of dogs and 61% of cats are considered obese through the Association of Pet Obesity Prevention. I had no idea, truly, that kind of floored me. That I knew that in humans we have a long way to go as far as being more healthy, but I had no idea it was so prevalent in the pet population. So we tried to work our products into not only being fun and exciting and playful, but also, hey, can we get these pets moving again, or get them interested in getting out there and running around, whereas maybe they become lethargic or just disinterested in the modern stuff they've been playing with.
Yeah,
Bubble
I think
therapy.
that's bubble therapy. That's awesome. It's like physical therapy, but way more fun.
Right.
So can you talk a little bit about some of the, in a more general aspect, some of the challenges that both senior people and senior pets face when trying to engage in physical activities? And you sort of already explained how your products help, but you've obviously got a mind for this kind of stuff. So when you're trying to put together, let's say, a holistic plan on how a senior pet parent and their senior pet can be more healthy, what would sort of go into that plan?
Right. I think for anyone, simplicity is number one, right? I mean, making it simple, making it obtainable. So making it simple, making it affordable, and making something that little to no skill level is necessary. Okay. So there are many products that probably fit that, that would check those boxes. But I think within bubbles, it's super easy. Everybody knows how to blow bubbles, right? They are affordable. Being able to interact with your pet by doing that, I think holistically, it doesn't need to get any more than that. You can introduce, so you can use bubbles in bubble guns. You've all seen the kids' toys that, that fire out multitudes of bubbles. They even have bubble machines too that do that same thing. You can put those on remote control. Last year at Global Pet, we saw some enticement tools where dogs would run and they'd push a button and they'd get a reward, right? And so many people came to my booth and said, you need to have that button turn on a bubble machine for a couple seconds. So that's the reward, right? And that's a dangerous thing to tell the bubble, because I'm going to remember that. Out of everybody I met at the show, I remembered that guy.
He's working on it.
Right. But I think it's to your point is if you can just keep it easy, keep it simple. I think people miss that interaction with their pet. So, just say an elderly person used to get down and roll on the ground with their pet or rub their tummy or play fetch, or maybe the dog used to sit in their lap or whatever it is. It's that human, man, it's that touch. And I think that the bubbles just become another medium for that. And sometimes they have to be introduced a couple times. I won't say that every dog that first has our pet bubbles blown in front of them does backflips, because sometimes you have to, although there are some that do, sometimes you have to, just like a new, like playing fetch or introducing a new toy. You have to have a couple sessions with them. And like one of my own dogs at home, one loves it, one just looks at me like I'm crazy, like, what are you doing? Did I answer your question? I'm not sure.
You absolutely, you did an astounding job. A+.
Okay. And I think the other thing that is wonderful about at least the products that we've brought about is the scent enticement is amazing. Let me take these out of my ear.
You need to get that.
Yeah, the scent enticement is wonderful. So, the bubble is this playful thing. Cats really go nutty for the bubbles. But when you put that other, sensory item in there, where it smells like peanut butter or bacon or pumpkin or apple pie, or for our kitties, catnip, I mean, boy, that just kind of blows it up. And they're thinking, whoa, what's this? And then that's a second form of you're kind of stimulating that sense with them, other than it just being this floating orb that they're going to interact with. It's a good one-two punch.
I got to congratulate you on such a simple concept that is so much fun and useful. And what I really love about the bubbles is that you have to play with your pet with the bubbles, unless you could train your dog or cat to blow the bubbles, because there's a lot of great toys out there that you don't have to participate in the playtime, and it's great for building that human animal bond. So great job, John. We're excited to see the bubble buttons next.
I should have. Yeah, exactly. We are. So I did. It was interesting. Last year at Global, we had built this custom machine that had like eight of the different scents that we were experimenting with, in our pet line, and it was really interesting, and the people could just come up. And I found that the humans were pushing those buttons. They were loving those buttons. They were colorful, and I had this sign that said, "Please push my buttons," and people thought that was cute, and they came over. But I think you're right. I think when you can get the pet owner to get back interactive with their pet, I know it's a mutual love connection there, right? And I think sometimes, even sometimes I get tired when I get home, and it's like you let the dog out and he goes run, but that dog's been kind of by himself all day. He wants to get out there and play with mom and dad.
Exactly. Right. And it's great stress relief for us too, I think. So so it's a home run, and we're excited to see what you do next, John. So we're about out of time. So we're going to let you run and look forward to the next bubble creation you come up with.
Oh my God, guys, thank you so much. I super appreciate the opportunity, and just have them find us on the website or online. And we'd love to introduce them to puppy love and kitty love bubbles.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today, John.
Thank you, guys. Love it.
Chris, how you're talking about this is the year of radical self-care?
Yes.
I think we can add bubble therapy.
Yes.
To that regimen.
It's already on the list. I'm already on the website. I'm there. I'm just waiting for it to get warmer outside. I feel like the bubbles is more of an outdoor activity.
I think so.
So for those of you enjoying a warmer climate right now, get right on it. For those of you who are like Kristen and I, all bundled up and indoors, add it to the shopping list. And as soon as that sun breaks over the crested mountains, prepare yourself for bubble time.
Pets add life.
And moving right on along, our second guests. That's right, guests. We got a twofer again for you guys today. Are Teddy Tawil and Irving Fallas, the visionary co-founders of Happy Tails, the ultimate luxury canine club in Tribeca, New York City. Dubbed the Soho House for dogs, which is awesome, Happy Tails offers a premium experience for pups and their owners alike. From jungle-themed play areas to a dog therapist, psychic, and chiropractor, this 10,000 square foot paradise redefines dog daycare. Teddy and Irving's goal is to provide dogs with the upscale life they deserve while fostering a community for the like-minded pet owners. With features like dog yoga, birthday parties, gourmet treats, and even bark mitzvahs, Happy Tales is creating an entirely new lifestyle for urban dogs and their humans. Teddy and Irving, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for that introduction. That was incredible.
You're very, very welcome. So I want to just jump right into it by asking, it's such an incredible concept, right? Having all of these luxury upscale things. Where did this idea come from? What inspired you guys to start the Happy Tales business?
I guess I'll take that one. About 2 years ago or so, I guess we were both industry and working in corporate America and wholesale. COVID hit, and a lot of our retailers were on money freeze. Irving and I, who grew up in Brooklyn together, looked at each other and, we figured there was a big need and a white space for dogs, especially in urban areas. We started with 1994 Dodge Caravan. We went around house to house picking up dogs. We started in New Jersey. We made our way to Brooklyn, eventually New York City, and even Miami. And when we saw the need and the success we were having for giving dogs the life that they deserve, we said, you know what, why don't we just take a risk here and go for it all? And we opened up truly our dream place with proper staff and an elevated experience, very different than what we ever see in urban environments. And we're happy to be here, and hopefully we're here to stay for long.
Oh, well, congratulations. I just would love what you're doing. And clearly, this is nothing like traditional daycare, for example. So, Irving, maybe you can tell us what some of the amenities are that are kind of over the top for these lucky dogs and their parents.
Of course. So like he was saying, what we're doing here is we're creating an experience, right? Mm-hmm. You're not just here to drop off your dog and say, hey, go to daycare. They're walking in, the dogs with their mom and dad, whoever it would be. Right when you walk in, you're going to have someone greet you. You're going to have someone that's going to take you around and show you what we're offering, which is we have self-wash stations. We have a coffee bar where the owner could grab a coffee and walk around our retail shop. And like you were saying before, we also have our event space. So they could host parties and birthdays. And if you all remember, we're going to have events such as, maybe a CPR class. And we have different ideas for that. So we're creating an experience for the owners and the dogs. And that's what we're bringing to this urban area.
That's so cool. What a great concept. And with so many different things, so many differentiators between yourself and regular daycares, what would you say is like the most popular thing that new members, they come in and they're like, wow, I just can't believe you guys have this.
I would say the daycare. In the back of the house, we have about 3,000 square feet, 4 rooms. Each of them are themed. We have an agility course. We have a slide and tunnel obstacle course. We have complete trainers that are actually behavior therapists, and they really understand the animals. And I think that's what really sets us apart as opposed to some of the other places. And that's the reaction that we get all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's so important to have true animal pet experts, in a business like that. So I'm glad to hear that. So what is how do members become members? Like, is there an assessment process or what's entailed?
So typically the members, they buy an a la carte single day pass. And once they do so, it usually takes about 2 or 3 times until they typically get comfortable to make sure their dog is actually enjoying themselves. And then pretty much right away, I would say, to get the best bang for your buck, they sign up for the membership. Why do they do that? It's because they receive a variety of discounts between boarding, grooming, training, even our retail shop. We give them free self-wash. We give them free cafe access. So I think the membership model is really what we're pushing towards and where we're seeing most of our sales.
And to go off that, it's we're trying to create a community. We want the dog owners to meet each other. We want them to join the membership. So we have these events. We're all meeting each other. We've already had that happen where 2 dogs that are back there are best friends and the owner's now connected. So I think it's like a beautiful process that we're seeing.
Yeah, only in the in today's millennial world are parents becoming friends because their dogs are friends. That used to be kids, but I suppose dogs are doing that now. So I want to talk about a little bit about your decision making process, because you guys, I mentioned in the intro things like a dog psychic and a chiropractor, and obviously on a membership subscription basis, you can't just have everything available. You guys have to consider what's going to be most valuable. So how do you guys think in terms of, we really need to add this feature or this type of person into our business?
I think it's really a trial and error theme for us. We had a launch event with a variety of influencers. We had fly collars come here, do laser engraved collars. We offer that to our members. We did another event for Christmas, holidays. We had a Brooklyn-based company called Ollie's Ice Cream come. We offered, ice cream. So it's really like the humanization of pets, offering a lot of human services for pets. That's what we see, the world coming to. And as you know, in that millennial era, we see a lot of it.
And it's always new ideas. It doesn't have to always be a chiropractor. Like I was saying before, our events are always going to have something new, something different. So we're always trying to come up with new ideas, doing our research, looking around, and really trying to create this experience that you don't see around, where we have all these new events and all these new ideas that are coming to the door.
Yeah, and it's a great way to test to see what's going to be really popular too, right?
Exactly.
When I was reading about Happy Tales before the show, I was so jealous because I live in this very small little mountain town in Western North Carolina. And our options are rather limited. But there's a couple of doggy daycares that I have tried, and they're nice, but there's no, like you're talking about, that you're emphasizing the community component. Like, I'd like to stay and watch my dog play sometimes, or I like to show up early, to pick her up and see what she's doing. So I really love that human component. And would you say that is the number one differentiator, or are there more? Obviously, there's several, but is that the top differentiator for you?
I would definitely say it's a main one. Like I was saying before, we had people meet each other sitting by the bar, which is behind us, talking to each other, watching their dogs play. You don't get that anywhere else in the city. So yeah, it's definitely a big factor, and we encourage it. That's why right there by the bar, we also have the coffee bar. So they're going to grab a coffee, they're going to go sit and watch their dogs, they're going to talk to each other. And yeah, like I said, it's creating a community, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and starting a business in New York City is, let's just say, it's tough. Right?
You guys are brave. You're so brave.
Yeah, plenty of superlatives to go with that. So, we may have some listeners who are thinking of starting their own business or their own, pet-oriented or business in the pet space. Do you have any advice for some entrepreneurs who may be looking to get, whether it's into, pet retail or pet services, on how they can be successful?
I beat him up over the permit. There was a lot to go into it. I think he's perfect to answer this because it's a process.
I would just say, listen, we're New Yorkers, so we're chaotic by nature, and we kind of thrive in chaos. But I would just say this: it's an ever-changing world, especially now at times. We've seen what Uber did with car services. We see what Airbnb did with rentals. We see what Grubhub did with delivery services. I think the moral of the story is you really have to go for it, and follow your vision, as cheesy as it sounds, because who knows what the next 10 years is going to look like in our world, whether it's robotics, and to us, our big bet is pets. We think that's going to be our next, epidemic in our sense. So I would just say go for it, and not to even think straight. People will tell you you're crazy. Don't do it. Don't quit your job. Yeah. I would just say go for it. Don't even think twice.
Great advice for entrepreneurs. Well, you're off to a great start. And hey, if I come to New York City and just want to visit, can I just hang out in the cafe?
Absolutely. You're welcome anytime.
I'll bring my husband because he grew up in Brooklyn too. He'll love you guys.
There we go.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Best of luck with Happy Tales. And I'm coming. I'm going to come visit, I swear.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Right,
thank you, guys. Take care.
Right. Take care.
Have you seen Home Alone 2? The one where he's stuck in New York and he's at like the Plaza Hotel And it's just like the best day ever for him as this kid with his dad's credit card in the Plaza Hotel, and he gets the pizza delivered, and he goes to the little spa. That is what I'm envisioning the dogs' lives are like every day when they go to Happy Tails. Is just like all of these things. It's always vacation. Heck, I mean, I might go on vacation there. Sounds pretty nice.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, right.
Guys are awesome.
When you come up to New York, that is going to be where you guys drop Tulip off for sure.
The product of the week.
All right, it's time for the product of the week. All right, enough of that.
You're scaring me.
I've got a product here, Kristen, that I chose really because the brand itself is really focused on sustainability and fair trade. So the brand is called Koston. That's Koston. And they make all sorts of dog and cat toys. They really specialize in looking at this. It's like textiles. So they have a few different kinds of products. They have vegan leather harnesses and leashes. So for those of you who don't know, vegan leather is just like pleather. It's like it looks and feels like leather. It doesn't come from a cow. They've got linen bandanas, linen toys, cotton and linen pet beds. And when they use wood, they use like 100% pine or cedar. So the toys at the end of the day are almost entirely biodegradable. They even sometimes use non-polyester stuffing, though sometimes they are using the polyester stuffing. But compare that to some of the plastic that exists in the pet industry and the amount of plastic between the packaging, the toy itself, all of the inserts and twist ties. I think it's important to sometimes support brands who are trying to think of ways to deliver an excellent product while thinking about sustainability. And these products aren't crazy expensive. They're more expensive, obviously, than stuff you're going to go grab at like Walmart. But compared to other, let's say, premium brand toys, like your Zippy Paws and Kongs and stuff like that, they're on this about at the same price level, around that $20 range. So if you're like me, you care about this planet, huh? Do you? Do you care about this planet? Check it out. Link to one of the products that I really liked, which was this little whale dog toy. And it's like, it's stitched in such a cute kind of like minimalistic way. I really liked it. So that link is going to be in the show notes, but check out their entire site for some really awesome sustainable pet products.
Oh, I'm going to check them out. That sounds cool. And every dog needs a cute stitched whale toy.
Yes.
So my product of the week is, this is from a brand. I think I might have featured a product of the week from this brand before because I'm in love with it. It's called Kindtail, Kindtail. I just love this brand because of their aesthetic, and they create things for your pet home that are beautiful and very functional, which is not new. I mean, it's a trend that's been happening for, probably a decade or so, but I don't know. It just gets this warm, fuzzy feeling when I go to their website. And I discovered they have a new crate. It's called a Pod, PAWD. And it's essentially a modern dog crate that is collapsible. So you can carry it from room to room or take it on a trip with you or what have you. And they come in these beautiful colors, like, just plain white, of course, gray, like a pastel green, a pastel pink, a blue, just really pretty colors. Now, they only make them in two sizes for small and medium dogs at this point. But I did want to mention a word about crates because a lot of times when I talk to pet parents about crates, sometimes they kind of like squint up their face and they say, "Oh, that's so cruel. I'd never put my dog in a cage." And I think crates need a PR team or something because
they need
a rebrand. It's more like a little cozy nest. And crates, when they're used properly, are a really great tool for dogs. They provide like a safe, cozy space that mimics a den, and dogs are naturally den animals. So anyway, but they just have these beautiful crates, and the other cool thing is you can customize the inside with they have a couple of different options. You can get more of a standard crate pad that's very soft and cushy, but they also have a lounger calming bed that slots right into the crate, and it's got a bolster and it's very cozy and probably a premium product. It's not inexpensive. I think the small one's $129. But if you're looking for something beautiful for your home, maybe you just got a new dog or a new puppy over the holidays and you need a crate for crate training, this would be a great brand to check out.
That's great. And yeah, to your point about crates needing a rebrand, I know a few dogs whose preferred solo hang spot is their crate. They'll
absolutely.
go drag a blanket into their crate and go lay down there when they don't want to be bothered. And they have no problem getting into the crate when they go to the grocery store or, sleeping at night so that they won't bother the cat. That's why one of the dogs was crate trained, so that they didn't chase the cat around at night and wake everybody up. But now, like once you make it cozy for them, a lot of dogs will just find their way in there on their own.
Oh, absolutely. And you can just leave the door open to the crate and they'll go in there on their own.
Yep.
I think just have to be, you don't ever want to use the crate as punishment. Just use it with positive reinforcement with treats or toys or what have you. And yeah, you're right. They love it.
Q&As.
What do we do next?
We do questions. We answer questions from our audience. That's what we do, I think. We answer questions from our audience. So I know, my lovely, lovely pal listeners, what you are thinking is, how do I get my question answered by Chris and Kristen? Well, I have good news for you. You can head on over to Pets Add Life. That's add with 2 Ds. See, a lot of people putting 1 D and then getting confused. It's Pets Add Life as an addition. petsaddlife.org/podcast. Scroll on down to the bottom of that page. You'll see a form to submit your question. Or if you are feeling as brave as a dog, all cozied up in their nestly little crate, you could record a voice memo. And in our last couple episodes, you heard some of those voice memos and they came in real good. So keep them coming so that we could continue to hear your lovely voices and answer your questions. But without further ado, let's get into today's questions. Our first question for you here, Kristen, it's coming from Mark in Denver, Colorado. Thank you, Mark.
Hey,
I suppose
Mark.
he asked it to both of us, but you're the expert on this kind of stuff, Kristen. But he says, hi, Chris and Kristen. My dog, Bella, recently got over kennel cough. Oh, sorry, Bella. And I'm worried about preventing it in the future. What are the best ways to protect her from respiratory illnesses like CIRDC, especially when she's around other dogs?
Okay, that's a great question. Now, first of all, I'm glad Bella's feeling better. Marky said that she was just gotten over it. By the way, CIRDC, I had to look this up. So, yeah, Mark, you're pretty savvy.
Please.
Yeah. This is a question from an educated listener. It stands for Canine Infectious Respiratory Disease Complex. So basically, it's an umbrella term for any contagious respiratory illness in dogs. So that would include kennel cough, canine flu or influenza, and any other infections that are caused by viruses and bacteria. So these all spread really easily in places where dogs congregate. So even though we're doing this show in the winter and maybe there's smaller crowds at the dog park, people are still, going to doggy daycare and going to the vet and, perhaps boarding their dogs. So it's a good year-round question. To help Bella stay healthy in the future from these highly contagious respiratory illnesses, I would say make sure that you keep her Bordetella and canine influenza vaccines up to date. Those are really good for prevention. You'll want to avoid sick dogs if you can. I mean, sometimes we don't know if a dog is sick, but if there are dogs that Bella plays with that are showing signs of illness, you definitely want to avoid that. Good hygiene. Keep her bowls clean, her bedding clean, her toys, and any areas where she might share spaces with other dogs. And other than that, I would say just, making sure you're feeding her a healthy diet and she's, getting enough exercise so that her immune system is strong. All of those things should prepare Bella to stay healthy. So thanks, Mark.
That's a
for that
great
question.
great answer, Dr. Kristen.
So, Chris, I'm gonna give you a dog question this time. I always give you the cat questions.
I'm ready for it.
Are you up for it? Okay. Hi, this is from Jillian in Chicago. So Jillian says, "Hi, Kristen and Chris. I live in Chicago and winters here are brutal." She's right. I lived there. I'm wondering how to keep my dog Max safe and comfortable during our daily walks in the cold. Do you have any tips on paw care, clothing, or how we should be outside, or how long we should be outside?
Yeah, this is a great question. And I'm going to start with the paws, because regardless of the breed or the size or the coat, every dog has very soft, leathery pads on the bottom of their feet. And one thing I know about Chicago is y'all love your road salt over there in Chicago.
Yes, I do.
It is everywhere. It's on the roads. It is on the sidewalks. And that stuff is really, really, really not good for the pads of their feet. So if Max is a younger dog who is still, let's say, trainable or amenable to it, get some booties on Max. That's the best thing you could do. If Max is anything like all the other dogs I've seen on YouTube and refuses to wear them, or starts like doing goofy walks and it's just not working out, when you get back from your walk, wash their pads, wash their little paws. And then there's a lot of products out there that are basically like balm that you could put on and apply, which is going to help re-moisturize. It's like getting chapped lips. Imagine having chapped lips, like that feeling, but on the bottom of the feet. Oh, that is what that's what you're putting your dog through. So next, the cold itself. If you have a husky, like, they're fine, right? Like that's obviously a thing. But I assume because you're asking this question, you may have a smaller dog or a dog with short hair. In which case, get a nice sweater for the dog. Like Tulip's got a sweater. It is okay to dress your dog up. Yeah, here we go. Tulip is making an appearance. It is cold there in the Carolinas, and Tulip has a very fashionable green sweater on. So, they make all sorts of great products for dogs of any size, whether it's more of like an overcoat or a cozy sweater. It is okay to dress your dog. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And then as far as time goes, if you're cold, they're cold. So if you are bundled up and you go out and you've been walking for 10 minutes and you feel the chill, they're feeling the chill. Wrap it up. It's really good to train your dog to take care of their business on command, so that you could get that out of the way at the beginning of the walk. And then everything after that is just enrichment and exercise, so that when the cold does hit, you can wrap it up instead of the dog being like, but wait, I need 20 more minutes to figure out where exactly I'm going to pee. Which in a city like Chicago can be miserable. So stay warm, take care of those little pawsies. Don't be afraid to dress your dog, and try to keep it to like 15, 20 minutes. If you're cold, they're cold. Thanks, Tulip. You're such a good model.
Yeah, she is. She loves this sweater so much that when you try to take it off of her, she runs away from you.
That is
so she
adorable.
Like on a day like today, she'll have it on all day.
That is adorable. And listen, if you're not watching the show on one of the video platforms it's available on, you're missing out. You're missing out on Tulip in a lovely sweater. I'm not even going to describe it. I'm not going to describe the sweater. If you want to see the sweater, you're going to have to watch this on video. And
you're going to want one just like it.
Yeah. You're going to want sweaters like Tulip and Chris. This has actually become a fashion podcast now.
This is the sweater episode.
This is the sweater. This is the ugly sweater episode of Pets Ad Life, or fashionable sweater. They're not ugly. We're very fashionable here. But hey, that just about does it for this week's episode. Don't be sad that it's over. Be happy it happened, because we're going to be back next week. We're here every Tuesday. It doesn't matter if Chris has a cold or the sky is falling or the Carolinas are freezing over. We're here. We're here delivering you this awesome content. So be sure to check right back in. Follow us on all the socials. Comment on all of our pages. Interact. Recommend the show to a friend. Kristen, give them some ideas on who to recommend it to.
Oh, recommend it to your mom, your
That's
dad,
a good one.
Your besties, any of your family members who have pets. I've got all my family members listening now. Your neighbors. And as Chris said earlier in the show, recommend it to your non-pet loving friends too,
Yeah.
so that they
Change
can
them.
see what they're missing out on, and they can be converted into pet lovers like us.
And that's our wrap for today. Remember, it's the year of radical self-care, so be kind to yourself, be kind to animals, and we will see you back here in 1 week's time.
Bye-bye.
Pets add life.